Okay, so our miniature now has the sand texture dry. I've given it some time to dry. You want to make sure it's dry before you go into this next stage, which is painting up the sand texture. You want to be sloshing around some gluey, sandy, wet mix that's not firmly on the base yet, so you got to wait for that to dry. Put it underneath the lamp, use a hairdryer or whatever. I am now going to apply my base coat color. Now, for your paints, for the dirt texture, you're going to want a dark brown and a kind of a dark tan and then a light tan. So you can use any variety of paint brands for that. I'm going to use P3 color starting with a Battlefield brown. So I'm going to apply that first. In fact, let me show you what I'm going to use, because I'm not going to do all of this on camera. That would really be not necessary. So I'm going to start with a Battlefield brown, a dark brown base. Then I'm going to go to Beast Hide, which is really like a dark tan base. I'm going to go to a light tan, in this case Menoth white base. You could use any variety of paint brands, but again, dark brown, medium brown, or dark tan, and a light tan. That's really, or beige, that's what you're looking for. I'm going to apply my dark brown. I'm going to water down my brush. I want a nice watery paint here. When I apply my base coat, I'm going to show you why. We're going to use something called a capillary effect. And the advantage of the capillary effect is we don't have to get close to the miniature. The sand will absorb the paint and it will travel. Watch, let me get actually in so you can see this. So as I apply the brush, see how the paint travels beyond? I'm just holding the tip there, I'm not moving the tip. See how the paint travels beyond the tip? That's called the capillary action. What's happening is the sand is absorbing the paint. By watering it down, I allow it to travel like that. And the real advantage of that is I don't have to actually get close to her feet and worry about painting over parts of the model that are already painted, because again, this is a basing technique for a model that's already done, really. So when I go in, let me get this on camera, I've got it nice and watery, I'll just kind of naturally travel around to those areas. So get a little more water on my brush, it's getting a little dry. I'm going to go in there, and you can see that again, I don't really have to get that close to either my brick, because I don't want to paint over that or brown, or the model's feet. So I'll let the capillary action of the traveling paint do the work for me, and I don't have to worry about being super detailed with where I'm painting. Okay, now what I'm not going to do is make you watch me paint the dry brush highlight shading over this. Alright, so basically what I'm going to do at this point, since I got my Battlefield brown, my dark umber brown or dark brown base coat down, I'm going to dry brush. Once this paint dries, I'm going to dry brush on this dark tan or Beast Hide P3 paint terms, and then this over that I'm going to dry brush a light tan, a Menoth white base. You could use a Hammerfall khaki or a beige in terms of Vallejo model color, or even go back to that Tusk Ivory for the Reaper. So a dark tan, then a light tan, dry brushed over the dark brown base coat. Again, I'm going to let that dry before I apply any dry brushing, or the effect will be lost. So I let that base coat dry, highlight 1, dry brush, highlight 2, dry brushed, and then the sand texture will be done. I'm going to do that off camera. I'm going to talk about the very, very last thing after that, which is real quick. Okay, so as you can see, off camera I finished up this miniature in terms of painting with dry brushing. Alright, so we have the dirt effect with that dark brown base coat you saw me apply, and then I highlighted a dark tan and then a light tan over that. Alright, to get that dirt texture, which covers half the base on our kind of ruined road effect. So now, there's one thing that remains to be done, and I'm sure you can tell what it is. This primed over base, right, is now gray, and it needs to, or has been gray, it needs to be black again to finish this miniature. We've got some dry brushing over the edges, some wash over the edges, definitely needs to be cleaned up. Best way to do that, to paint over the lip of a base like that, is to get, an old paint pot and put some poster putty, some blue or yellow tacky poster putty on it. Okay, apply your miniature to the top of that. So you got a stand. In fact, this is how I paint my miniatures to begin with, or to be honest. But when I go back and get that base, this is a great way to do it. I'm going to use a very flat black. This is the old Pro Series Faded Black, one of my favorite paints, now out of production. Hopefully we'll see it in the Master Series HD line. I'll bet we will. But you can use any flat black. So what you're going to do is you are going to get some paint on your brush and just finish this up. So what I want to do is be very precise with that line at the top of the base to reestablish the rim there. Okay. And then simply to paint around my base. Okay. Some more paint. Now, maybe earlier you sealed this miniature before you even did the base, because you were done with the painting of the miniature itself. That's fine. If you want to go back and seal over this finished base and seal the miniature one more time with a Tester's Dull Coat or whatever your favorite sealer is, you could do that. And not only will that seal the effects that you put on the base, it will also give your miniature another layer of protection, which is never a bad thing. Okay, so I'm going to even that line out there a little bit, come across, get my nice circle, reestablish that. Okay, so I always can spin it around, see, with the advantage of being on top of this paint pot, so I can see little spots like this. Actually, let me show you that you can miss when you paint a base. Okay, that's taken care of. Spin around, so I've got some nice coverage now. Okay, so that base is done, and now you get the idea of the half brick, half dirt, or ruined road effect, as I like to call it, and that miniature is done. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to end with some still shots of this miniature, more likely than not, see how my time is on my video, and then you'll get some stills to kind of get an idea of the final effect on this miniature. So this is Garrison for Iron Kingdoms at War, and also just the bases. I hope you found this half brick post painting basing tutorial helpful, and if you have any questions, certainly put them in the comment section of this video and I'll be glad to answer them. By no means do I consider myself a pro or an expert. I'm learning just like everybody else, but I have discovered this little handy technique over the years, and I thought there might be some people that want to employ it in finishing the bases on their miniatures, especially those that are already mounted. So anyway, have a great day everybody, and happy wargaming. See ya.